Going on, guys? And today, it's because it's Wednesday, we're going to be doing our weekly predictions coming in for the NFL game this week in week 2. Last week, I went a grand total of 8-7-1, but in my defense, I don't think that 3 of the upsets I could have predicted being true. I think that 2 of them were for sure wrongs that I could have had, but I don't think I could have predicted the Titans losing, the 49ers losing, the Bengals losing, or the Broncos losing accurately, or even the Colts tying with the Texans. I think that I could have easily have predicted the Panthers losing. That would have been more accurate. The Vikings winning would have been more easy, and the Bills winning would have probably been easy, and then I would have been at 11-4-1. But anyways, that's enough of that. Let's jump right into this, and we're going to be starting off with the Thursday night football game, where it's the Chargers traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. And I think that as much as I want the Chargers to win this game, it is so hard for the Chargers to win in Arrowhead. It's a very, very hard place to play, but if the Chargers defense comes to play in as well as they played against the Raiders on Sunday, I think the Chargers could win, but for right now, I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Unfortunately, as much as I would rather have the Chargers win, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Moving on to the next game, we have the Jets taking on the Browns. I think because Joe Flacco is leading the Jets in, I think that the Jets are going to be really bad to start off until Zach Wilson comes back. Jacoby Brissett played pretty well against the Panthers as well. There's a little bit of controversy that made the Browns for sure get a win, but that's not enough. That's not important. I think here this is going to be an easy win for the Browns. I think that this is going to be super, super easy for them. The Jets just aren't that good right now, but once Joe Flacco comes back, then it'll be fine. So I'm going to go with the Browns. Moving on, we have the Commanders taking on the Lions in Detroit, and I think that the Lions are going to be able to win this game. They almost came back against the Eagles, who I think are one of the best teams in the NFL right now. I had them in my top 10, and I think that the Lions are going to be able to be a lot better than people are giving them credit for. And I'm very excited, but I think that the Lions are going to win this game. It is in Detroit, and for that, I'm going to give a slight edge to them, but I feel like Carson Wentz could also continue to play as well as he did on Sunday, and I think that could lead to him winning. But for right now, I'm going to go with the Lions, because I don't really trust Carson Wentz as much as I should. Moving on to our next game, we have Tom Brady taking on the New Orleans Saints, and I think that the Saints are going to probably play this game pretty well. If their defense doesn't play as bad as they played against the Falcons on Sunday, I think that the Saints could win this game. I feel like the Buccaneers defense is going to have a nice feast, but I'm going to go with the Saints here. Tom Brady has not beat the Saints during the regular season in the first 4 or 2 years of his time. He's 0-4. I'm going to go with the Saints. I think Jameis Winston played really well in the fourth quarter, and Michael Thomas played really well, and I want Chris Olave to get a little bit more involved in the defense to be a little bit better, but for right now, I'm going to go with the Saints. Moving on, we have the Panthers at the Giants. I think the Giants winning is insanely shocking to a lot of people. I think that the Giants are one of the weakest teams in the NFL, and had it not been for the Titans having a little bit of a blow-up, the Giants would have lost that game. They should have lost for sure. And I'm going to easily go with the Panthers here. I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a bounce-back game. I think that it's going to be a lot better for the Panthers. I think Brian Burns is going to have an increased game, and the defense is going to play a little bit better. But yeah, easily win for me. I'm going to pick the Panthers. Moving on to the next game, I have the Patriots taking on the Steelers. The Patriots just looked awful against the Dolphins. They looked so, so bad. I really want the Steelers to win this game, but if the Patriots who showed up on Sunday, then they will for sure win. And yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. I think that it's going to be super, super, super easy win for them. The Patriots defense looked awful. They couldn't do anything to stop Jalen Waddle. The Patriots offensive line couldn't stop the Dolphins pass rush, and if the Dolphins pass rush was able to get to Mac Jones as well as they did on Sunday, the Steelers pass rush, even without TJ Watt, I think will easily have a game, and I'm going to go with the Steelers against the Patriots. Moving on, we have the Colts taking on the Jags, and the Colts absolutely embarrassed me in my prediction. Easily one of the weakest predictions. The Colts should have played so much better, but Matt Ryan is looking like he's done, and it's just like, oh, why, dude? It's just really annoying. That being said, Trevor Lawrence looked really well in his debut for Week 1. I think he had a decent debut. And I'm gonna go with a shocker here. I'm gonna go with the Jags to win. It is in Jacksonville, and the Colts have really bad luck playing against the Jags in Jacksonville, but I think that the Jags could actually win this game. I think if Trayvon Walker continues to play as well as he did, that they could actually win, and that this could be pretty well for the Jags. So I'm going to go with the Jags in this situation. Moving on to the next game of the week, we have the Dolphins taking on the Ravens, and the Ravens had a fantastic game against the New York Jets, absolutely beating up on their defense. Sauce Gardner played well against the Ravens, but overall the Ravens played pretty well. Lamar Jackson had 3 touchdowns. All 3 of the touchdowns were spread between Devin Duvernay and Rashad Bateman. And the Dolphins beat the Patriots, who looked really bad. So, yeah, I don't actually know which one could win, because I could see an argument for both of these teams winning. But honestly, I'm going to give the slight edge, because I think Lamar Jackson's a better quarterback than Tua. I'm going to give a slight edge to the Ravens here. I think the Ravens defense is a little bit better. I think that Tua's a worse quarterback than Lamar Jackson, even though I think Tyreek Hill is is a better wide receiver than any of the Ravens wide receivers, excluding Mark Andrews because he's not a receiver. I think that the Ravens could win this game. It is also being played in Baltimore, and as much as I've been picking all of the home teams here, all but one so far, I just have a feeling that this game is going to be way better for the home teams this week. Moving on to our next game, this is going to be the easiest game ever. We have the Falcons, who choke every lead they ever have, playing against the Rams, who need a bounce back game. They're getting embarrassed by Buffalo. They got absolutely embarrassed at home in the home game, or the season opener, against the Bills, who I have as the best team in the league right now, and I think that this team needs a bounce back game. The Falcons defense is bad, so the Matthew Stafford, I'm hoping, has like an actual fun time and a great bounce back game where he hopefully doesn't throw out 3 interceptions. I'm going to go with the Rams in this situation. Moving on to our next game, we have the Seahawks taking on the 49ers. This game, I really would like to vote for the Seahawks here, because I think that Geno Smith played really well against the Broncos, and I think that the Broncos just let Geno Smith play really well. But I think the 49ers defense is better than the Broncos defense, and I think that Trey Lance is a better quarterback than Geno Smith. And as much as I want the Seahawks to win, I could see them upsetting the 49ers, but I'm going to go with the 49ers here. I think that the 49ers could lose this game, especially if they continue to play like they did, even though the field was really bad against the Bears. I think if Trey Lance actually comes out, then he could easily win, but I'm a little bit nervous with this one. Moving on to our next game, we have the Bengals taking on the Cowboys. The Cowboys lost Dak Prescott, so I think that they're going to be really bad for the rest of the season, because they now have to rely on Cooper Rush. Played decent last season when he was playing, but I think that Joe Burrow needs a bounce back game, and I don't have hope for the for the Cowboys defense. It's a hot take I had on Twitter where someone said the Cowboys defense was good, and I said it was mid. So I'm going to go with the Bengals in this situation. I think that the Bengals are more likely to be able to win. I think Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Cooper Rush. I think Jamar Chase is a better wide receiver 1 than CeeDee Lamb. And I think everything that the Bengals have overall is better than the Cowboys, except for maybe linebacker, because I think Micah Parsons is one of the best linebackers in the league. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals in this situation. I just think it's better. Moving on to our next game, we have the Texans taking on the Broncos. The Broncos, as mentioned, against the Seahawks, they choked really hard. They need a bounce back game. Russell Wilson did not cook well as he should have. He played pretty bad in his home field when he should have gotten his revenge. It was rough. That being said, the Texans tied with the Colts. The Texans are an awful team, and the fact that they managed to choke away a 20-point lead to have the Colts come back, yeah, it's insane to me. I think that Russ is going to cook here. I think Derek Stingley might also have a good day on the Texans side, and the Texans secondary might have a decent day, but I'm going to go with the Broncos just because I think the Broncos have a better overall roster than the Texans do. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that. Moving on to the next game, we have The Cardinals traveling to Vegas to take on the Raiders. The Raiders had a rough game against the Chargers. I think that the Chargers was a very good team, though, and that the Raiders just came in with a little bit of overconfidence. And the Cardinals, on the other hand, came in expecting to be able to compete against the Chiefs and getting destroyed. They got blown out by the Chiefs. And I think that the Raiders here needed to have something to do with their pass rush, and I think a great team to have the Raiders be able to compete against would be the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be very good this year. I think that the Raiders could be a little bit better, so I'm going to go with the Raiders because I think their defense and their pass rush is just a little bit better than the Cardinals is. I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray, and I think that Devontae Adams is a better wide receiver than Marquise Brown or any wide receiver on the Cardinals, and I think that the Raiders could win. Moving on to our Sunday night game, we have the Bears traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Packers got absolutely embarrassed by the Vikings on Sunday. Their defense played really bad. Their offensive line played really bad. And yeah, their wide receivers played bad, and I would like the Packers to be better. That being said, the Bears coming in with a shocking win against the 49ers, and I don't think that this will be the same thing here. It is a divisional game, but this is being played in Lambeau, and the Bears always struggle in Lambeau. I think that the Packers are going to have an easy win here, and this is going to be probably the best bounce back game opportunity for Aaron Rodgers. Moving on to our next game, we have the Titans, who gave up comeback to the Giants and taking on the Bills, who just absolutely embarrassed the Rams, as I previously mentioned. And the Bills are easily the best team in the league right now. I think there's no debate otherwise. Josh Allen is playing at an MVP-like level after week 1. I think easily the Bills will win this game. The Titans, they do have Derrick Henry, but I think with the additions of Von Miller to that defense and their cornerbacks, I think the Bills are not going to be able to stop, or are going to be able to stop Derrick Henry, and that's going to mean that the Bills end up winning, because as we all know, when you stop Derrick Henry, you stop the Titans. So I'm going to have the Bills win here for the first of our Monday night games. And moving on to the second of our Monday night games, we have the Vikings moving on to take on the Eagles. The Eagles had a scary second half, letting the Lions come back a little bit, while the Vikings didn't let the Packers come back very much at all and actually shut them down. The question here is, will Jalen Hurts play as well as he did on Sunday, or will the Vikings defense stop Jalen Hurts? And I think the answer is going to be that the Eagles managed to come out on top, but only because I like their offense a little bit more than I like the Vikings defense. Yes, I like Justin Jefferson. I think he's a top 3 receiver in the game. I think the Eagles defense could be pretty scary, but because it's bad, because they let the Lions come back, even though I think the Lions are a very good team, I think the Eagles let them come back, and that's a little scary for me. I think that the Eagles overall just have a better roster other than at the wide receiver position. I think and I guess running backs, I think Miles Sanders is a worse running back than Dalvin Cook. That's his name. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles here. And with that being said, this is gonna be my final predictions, which I'll show here. And yeah, I think that these are gonna be very easy wins for these teams. I think that a lot of these upsets we could see. If I want to change things a little bit around, the Seahawks could possibly beat the 49ers, the Giants could possibly beat the Panthers, the Commanders could maybe beat the Lions, but overall I feel pretty confident in these, and that's going to be all I got for this week, or for this predictions this week. Take it easy.